Welcome to the Naked Truth Report with your host, truth warrior and mythbuster Kathleen Wells. The place where we distinguish fact from fiction, where data is used to drive points home, and where Kathleen takes the position that Democrats and black politicians have destroyed black America. Welcome to the Naked Truth Report. Now, your host, Kathleen Wells.
This shock that I got, seeing that young black men could not even work in Harlem, that was a transforming moment for me. It was an epiphany for me, because I had always been of the opinion, I admired Cardinal Mahoney out in California. When he was a young fella, a young priest, he wanted to help everybody, feed them, clothe them, everything. And I picked that spirit up from Mahoney myself. And suddenly I began to see things in a totally different light. One of that's really dear to my heart is that illegal immigration is crushing the American black community. It is depriving them of jobs. I told you about my experience in Harlem. It's depriving them of jobs. It's making the black man feel like not like a man, he can't support his family, he can't. And the black man has been in this country for 400 years. My family can't boast that. My father was born in Italy. I'm not as American as the average black person. And we are driving Americans, legal Americans, into poverty because illegals are coming in and taking jobs away from Americans who are legally here, the blacks who've had a long history of building up this country with their physical labor. I think it's terrible, it's terribly immoral, and I'd like the bishop to speak out on that subject and say, look, we have an obligation to our black community. We can't destroy the good just because there's another good that causes evil. We have to choose the good, and the good is to help the members of the black community. That's another one of the immoral aspects of this problem.
That's another one of the immoral aspects of this problem of illegal immigration. We cannot destroy the good because there's another good that causes evil, and the evil is the destruction of black America. Do you understand that? Do you understand that? That was Father Patrick Basio. His last name is spelled Bascio, a Catholic priest. And I want to recommend to people to go and see his videos, which are uploaded on YouTube. This is the thing that really disturbs me. I don't understand why these voices are not being heard in the mainstream media. Father Basio wrote his book, The Immorality of Illegal Immigration, in 2009. Why isn't his voice being heard in the mainstream media? This is what's disturbing to me. We cannot destroy the good just because there's another good that creates an evil. And destroying black America is an evil. Why is it an evil? Why is it an evil? It's an evil not because our skin is black, not because, we came from Africa. No, it is evil because we have been here 400 years building black America. That's why it's evil. These people came, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago? We've been here 400 years and we're legal. And we've been working and building America for 400 years. And why Barack Obama and all the other Democrats and the Congressional Black Caucus never bring us up when we're talking about illegal immigration? They never mention us. They only focus on the fact that, the poor dreamers. That's another thing. That name, dreamer. That's Martin Luther King's mantra. Dream. I have a dream. These people are downright diabolical to me. Because they're stealing everything from black Americans. I have a dream. That's black Americans. He dreamed black children and white children who are American citizens would hold hands together. He didn't dream that foreign children would hold hands with American citizens. He didn't dream that. So why are these people now usurping, stealing, taking that mantra? This stuff really disturbs me because it's a lie. It's diabolical. It's diabolical. Black politicians are destroying Black America. And you know why it's diabolical? It's diabolical because it's immoral. It's even worse because they're pretending to be our buddies, to be our friends. How evil is that? How immoral is that? How unethical is that? It's the worst thing possible. I mean, I cannot wait to get in front of one of these people. I'm not kidding. It is evil. It is diabolical. And another thing that disturbs me is that a lot of people have been talking about, that was, like I said, Father Basio, 2009, the book, The Immorality of Illegal Immigration. That was in 2009. Terry Anderson was here at this station in 2000, fighting this fight. And what was done? Nothing. They're pushing this agenda that is destroying Black America, and nobody cares. I mean, the idea when I see people like Barbara Lee and Karen Bass, my representative, Maxine Waters, these people, they have a lot of nerve. They have a lot of nerve because they're insincere, they're disingenuous because the data is clear. We've had on this show, the Naked Truth Report, Peter Kirisnow from the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights. He gives us the data. He tells us the data is unequivocal from both ideological perspectives, correct? I mean, I haven't even said who I am. I am Kathleen. I always do. When I hear this information, I just get so like, my blood is boiling. I'm not kidding. Because I'm a truth seeker. I'm a truth teller. The truth matters, doesn't it? And these folks are just lying, including President Obama. He's the main one because he came out with a written statement about how evil and cruel it is to get rid of DACA. That he's twisting the truth because the truth lies in the data. You see, they never discuss the data. They're never accurate. They say, we had last week Stephen Camarada, who is the director of research for the Center of Immigration Studies. He gave us the studies. He gave us the data, rather. Illegal immigrants do get welfare. They do get, illegal immigrants, households do get welfare. Right? They have children, they get welfare. All the lies really make me sick. Anyway, this is a Naked Truth Report. I'm your host, Kathleen Wells. I haven't even said that yet. This is a Naked Truth Report. I'm your host, Kathleen Wells. This is AM 870, The Answer. I haven't said that yet. We're going to have a great guest. We're going to have an encore presentation with Ted Hayes, the advocate for homeless folks, the activist who gives us the 411, tells it straight about illegal immigration. Very few people do that. We're having an encore presentation with Ted Hayes. He's going to talk about this DACA business. Because let me tell you, everyone in the mainstream media is lying. They're lying. They're not telling the truth. I don't know why they lie. Well, yeah, why do they lie? They have an agenda. They're pushing an agenda. They don't care if Black America is destroyed. Let me tell you something. Obama does not reflect the interest of Black Americans. He is a not direct descendant of slaves. He does not have an investment in America like Black Americans who are the direct descendants of slaves. You are not going to erase my grandfather's history, my ancestors' history. As I told you before, my cousin Bobby traced our family back to the 1700s. So we're supposed to just wave that goodbye, say, forget it, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. It's insignificant. Is that what we're supposed to do? Just erase that history. And, what I want to say to white conservatives is you have to be I would like you to be a little more understanding of Black folks, of my people, because my people have been lied to all of their lives. They've been lied to all of their lives. They are confused. They don't know the right. They don't know who they are. They don't know that they're the direct descendants of slaves, and that matters. They don't know that. And even if they do know that, they don't know how relevant and significant that is. They don't know that. So you have to, when you see them doing things that seem bizarre, that's confusion. And they've been confused by the Democrats all their lives, for 5 decades. They're ill-informed, uneducated, incarcerated, and they don't even know they're poor. They don't even know they're poor. One of the data points is, let's see, it will take the average black family 228 years to make the money of an average white family. That's poor. We've been here 400 years. Why should it take all black Americans at this point? The majority of us should be middle class. See, they don't understand that. So that's why when you see black folks, black guys doing things that don't seem kosher or don't seem cool, please give us a break. We have been lied to by all of our leaders all of our lives. And I'm starting with Martin Luther King selling us out to the Democrats. I'm talking about Jesse Jackson and Michael Eric Dyson. I'm talking about, they're lying to us. I'm talking about Obama, yes, because Obama is putting illegal immigrants before black Americans. This is why I love Trump, because he said, you know what Trump said? I know that American kids dream too. That's what Martin Luther King would say. Obama is trying to play sort of a con game on the American people and say non-citizens dream. Well, I'm sure they do, but they need to dream at their home country, right? And their home country needs to be concerned with their dream. Because we here, what Trump said, we here in America are concerned with the dreams of American children. Why should we be concerned with the dreams of non-American children? Why? And don't bring in that foreign policy bull crap, right? I almost said, don't bring in that foreign that is irrelevant. In other words, you're saying because our foreign policy is not cool, we should destroy black America? Is that what you're just suggesting? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't wash. Okay, I can go on and on and on and on and on. I get carried away, right, Sullivan? I really do. You know what? My guest today is Ted Hayes. We've had him on before. He's very dynamic. I love having him on the show. This is an encore presentation with Ted Hayes. Welcome, Ted Hayes, to the Naked Truth Report.
Hello, Kathleen. Thank you for inviting me on again. I appreciate it to share my view with you and all your great listeners in this country. But you know what, Kathleen?
What?
I think you need to get a little bit more passionate, my sister. You ain't passionate about what you're saying.
I'm not passionate enough
No.
for you. What can I do to get more passionate? What do you think I need to do?
Well, you blowing up my place over here, I tell you that much.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. Well, you
Good
know what?
job. You speak from your heart, my sister. And
I speak from my heart.
More people in this country speaking from their heart. You're doing the right thing.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Someone has to tell the truth. Someone has to speak up for Black America, and you and I do that, right?
Well, we're working on it, and there's a few more people starting to come around, like Sue Payne, of course, over on the East Coast, and the little groups I work with here, Pat Moore, and all the folks here in Los Angeles and Chicago. What's her name? The sister in Chicago, Yvette. It's starting to pick up. I think the reason that more black people are not standing up on this because we have not yet created a responsible body politic to protect. In other words, we don't have any NACPs or SCLCs. For example, here in Los Angeles, folks, where black folks have been identified, we call it Juan Crowism, right? Like Jim Crow, Juan Crowism. We are being so pushed out of L.A. If a school teacher, for example, should open her mouth or his mouth and say, you know what, I have some issues with immigration and these are my viewpoints, you know what happened to that teacher? They'll get fired, demoted, or not promoted and be called a racist. Now, if that teacher or that school administrator had an organization, a body politic that could come to their rescue with attorneys and whatever else, then I believe that teacher will stand up and get justice, and the same thing with everybody else in Los Angeles around this country. We just don't have leadership, and Kathleen, you are so right when you talk about the so-called African-American civil rights leadership abandoning us from Congress to the State House to the county to the municipal and to the clergy. You're so right about that.
Yeah, I called my city councilman, Herb Wesson is his name. In fact, they're having a meeting, I think tomorrow, Monday or Tuesday, at the city council. And the meeting is like, let's see, what is it? Any state or city that denies or wants to repeal DACA, will not promote it, or is against DACA, will be, you're banned from traveling on to that city or state. Can you imagine? Are these people nuts? They're having a meeting at the city council on that issue. I probably won't attend, but my councilman is Herb Wesson. Every time, I haven't spoken with him directly, but I speak to his assistant or whatever. And every time I call these people, because I call the mayor, I call everyone. This is another thing I want to suggest to people. Call, write, email. I call the White House saying I support President Trump and DACA, and I email Attorney General Sessions. In fact, the last email I sent him, I said, please, Attorney General Sessions, please sue California for racially discriminating against their black residents and workers. It's racial discrimination because we have the data on how black workers in San Francisco and Los Angeles are being disproportionately harmed by illegal immigration.
You're right, my sister, and it is racist because, you hear the statement from the La Raza movement. As you know, La Raza means for their race and for their race only. Everything for their race and for other races, nothing. It's the most racist entity, far greater than the Ku Klux Klan could have ever dreamed of being. But this La Raza, the first thing they holler to our Anglo-English-speaking white brothers, the first thing they holler to them when they say, hey, man, you're not allowed to cross our border or anybody's border illegally, the first thing they holler is to our white brothers here in America, U.S., you're a racist. And our white brother says, Anglo brother says, why am I racist? I'm just talking about my laws. He says, they say, look at the color of our skin. And white Anglo brothers say, well, what about it? Well, I'm brown, and you're treating me like you treat the blacks. And so they have assumed our legacy. They have equated illegal, what I call actually an invasion occupation. They have equated that with our journey as descendants of chattel slaves. But, I don't blame them. They're simply trying to do what they got to do for their own. They tell us that, for their race only. The ones I blame, it starts with the Republican Party. And it starts with who don't know. I would say 95% of people in this country who call themselves Republicans don't have an idea or a clue as to what it means to be a Republican. And then it starts with the conservatives, and then with the black Republican conservatives. These guys are not telling the truth about what's going on in our country.
Okay, let's talk specifically about DACA.
Well, DACA, ladies, brothers, and sisters, understand something. DACA is not a law. It is not a law. DACA is not even a presidential executive order. DACA is a memo that was created by the former President Barack Hussein Obama. And it was an in-house memo to the federal agencies, stand down and not prosecute or capture or prevent these children arriving in America. That's what that's about. And you know something? Mr. Trump, he can end it today because it's not a law. It is an illicit custom. He could end it today, particularly based on the 14th Amendment and the Civil Rights Act of 1866, Section 2, where it says that any government official who legislates a law, a custom, or anything that's contrary to the advancement of the chattel slave descendants as U.S. citizens, that person is to be arrested. And Mr. Trump can do that now. But see, he's trying to play smart, and I understand the strategy because he doesn't want to be looking like the bad guy in front of all these potential Hispanic Latino voters. So he's punted over to the Congress, which is understandable, that Congress has to, by Article 1, Section 8, make the immigration law. So he's right about that. But he is absolutely wrong about not enforcing the law. He is the chief executive officer. He said he wants to be the law and order president. Well, Mr. President, do your duty.
Well, let me tell you something. This whole thing about DACA, if these folks, if these kids, if these who, they're not even kids, for one. Because I was looking at a document the other day, and it says, listen, it says the shameful statistics that liberals don't want you to know about DACA. It says something like 40 to 50% of them got this status fraudulently, okay? 40 to 50% of them have gotten this status of DACA status fraudulently. In other words, they're not telling the truth about their age. In fact, when they went into the statistics, it's like the average age, not the average age, there's a certain percentage, like maybe 30 or 40% of them are like near 38 years old.
Now, that's true.
Hello?
That's right.
Okay. See, all of this stuff is underground, in the dark. You know what I'm saying? It's not kosher.
Again,
it's underhanded, underground economy. I don't like it, but I forgot what I was going to say. But another thing that I want to mention is this. You have now illegal immigrants telling black folks they're unemployable. Listen, baby, if you're an illegal immigrant, you can't have a conversation with me. You're in the country illegally. You cannot say anything to me. Then another illegal immigrant said, well, black folks don't compete. Wait a second. I'm not supposed to be competing with people who are not in the country legally, okay? See, the whole thing is confusion. It's a mess, right?
Kathleen, and folks, look, if you go in the U.S. Constitution, Article 4, Section 4 says this: the United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government, and shall protect each of them against invasion, and on application of the legislature or of the executive, when the legislature cannot be convened, against domestic violence. You see, folks, we need to come together. We're not going to get too far by knocking the invaders themselves. We have got to go to the person that our Constitution has designated as our guardian-in-chief, and that's the president, and tell the president, according to the U.S. Constitution, Article 4, he has an obligation to protect us. Now, the states are trying to also create, as California, sanctuary states, for example. And those sanctuary states, within those states are the cities, and that's where we black folks live. These states have been invaded by foreign entities with the aid of domestic enemies such as the governor, the state legislators, the county supervisors, and the municipal the LA City council members. The president of the United States, ladies and gentlemen, but he depends on we the people, because we're the ones who give him the right to govern us. We must come together and quote this Article 4, Section 4, to the president and tell him he cannot be persuaded by mental reservation or purpose of invasion. He's got to obey the law and execute it.
Right. I like that. Do you hear that,
folks? Get on the illegals all day long.
Right. Okay.
What are you going to do?
Right. I hear what you're saying. Okay, let's stop bashing the illegals, even though I love to do it. And let's get on to Article 4, Section 4 of the U.S. Constitution, and let President Trump know he has a responsibility to finish the sentence for me, Ted.
He has a responsibility to execute the law and protect American citizens, particularly those of us who are descendants of the chattel slaves. Remember something, folks. The Republican architects of the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th Amendment did not legislate our citizenship, our birthright citizenship, because we are black, but because of the way in which our ancestors were brought in this country in chains by immigrants to serve immigrants. You see, because it's on the back of chattel slavery that this nation of immigrants is built. And they knew they would have to give us a special power so that we can bring ourselves up. However, it says in Article 2 of the Section 2 of the Act that if any government official legislates a law, an ordinance, a precept, a custom that violates the citizenship of the chattel slave descendants, black U.S. citizens, then they are to be arrested.
Oh, I like that. Okay, and I love the law. And so everyone is listening to this program, and we understand now that our job, listen, we've got to work together to make this happen. We've got to get our voices heard because these folks are, I'm getting the impression that, Trump will possibly, when he says, I will revisit this issue of DACA in 6 months, I'm sort of getting the impression that he's going to have to negotiate and maybe give half of them. And you know what I mean? Oh, in other words, for me to get the wall, I have to give these folks, I have to give the Democrats amnesty for the DACA folks.
But you see, if he does that, folks, if he does that, if he compromises, what will happen then is the illicit, what I call presumed citizenship, the 14th Amendment, anchor babies, the DACA children, they're going to grow up to be 18 years old. Now, La Raza brags of itself, saying that they're going to eventually take over the country by the vote. They're saying that over 800,000 Latino Hispanic children turn 18 every year. Someone have calculated that's about 68,000 a day that turns 18 years old. It's just a matter of time that their vote, when their vote, via the 15th Amendment, outvotes the vote of the black citizens, that will be the technical end of the Republic of the United States of America. That's why Mr. Trump cannot give an inch. This issue is non-negotiable. Because for them to stay for a lifestyle improvement means the absolute annihilation and destruction of black U.S. citizens. And when we are rendered politically insolvent or inconsequential, that is the end of the republic. And if you believe in God, you better believe that God will also chastise this nation for failing its responsibility to rectify chattel slavery and its devastating generations that we suffer today.
Did you hear that, folks? Yes, yes, yes. We have an obligation to not destroy black Americans. You heard the priest at the beginning, Father Basio. I recommend that you go and look at his videos on YouTube. His last name is spelled B-A-S-C-I-O, Patrick Basio, a Catholic priest. We're going to go to a break, and are you open to taking calls, Ted?
Yes, ma'am, and I want to also send people to my website where I give a whole series on DACA and some letters that the Conservancy for the Preservation of Black U.S. Citizens have sent letters, open letters to Donald Trump. You got to read these letters, y'all. You got to read these letters. Okay,
so the phones are open now, like our borders. It's 866-870-5752. That's toll-free 866-870-5752. Please call in if you have something you'd like to say to Ted. We'll be right back. Thanks.
Kathleen Wells, the host of the Naked Truth Report, wants to hear from you. Just like our borders, the phone lines, well, they're wide open. Call in at 866-870-KRLA. That's 866-870-5752. 866-870-KRLA.
This shock that I got, seeing that young black men could not even work in Harlem, that was a transforming moment for me. It was an epiphany for me, because I had always been of the opinion, I admired Cardinal Mahoney out in California. When he was a young fella, a young priest, he wanted to help everybody, feed them, clothe them, everything. And I picked that spirit up from Mahoney myself. And suddenly I began to see things in a totally different light. One of that's really dear to my heart is that illegal immigration is crushing the American black community. It is depriving them of jobs. I told you about my experience in Harlem. It's depriving them of jobs. It's making the black man feel like not like a man. He can't support his family. He can't. And the black man has been in this country for 400 years. My family can't boast that. My father was born in Italy. I'm not as American as the average black person. And we are driving Americans, legal Americans, into poverty because illegals are coming in and taking jobs away from Americans who are legally here, the blacks who've had a long history of building up this country with their physical labor. I think it's terrible, it's terribly immoral, and I'd like the bishop to speak out on that subject and say, look, we have an obligation to our black community. We can't destroy the good just because there's another good that causes evil. We have to choose the good, and the good is to help the members of the black community. That's another one of the immoral aspects of this problem.
You know, when I hear that, that was Father Basio, who's a Catholic priest. His name is spelled Basio, B-A-S-C-I-O. When I hear that, it brings tears to my eyes. You know why? Because I think of my father. I think of my father working his whole life to provide for his family. My father fought in World War II. You know, and I was also looking on the computer the other day, trying to do like a search on my family. As I said, my cousin Bobby had traced my family back to the 1600s. And I think my grandfather, and I'm not certain, it's not definitive, but I saw a Jonas Wells. My grandfather's name was Jonas. I saw a Jonas Wells, like enlisted in World War I. Anyway, we're going to take phone calls right now. You ready to take phone calls, Ted?
Kathleen.
Yeah.
Can I just first, before we go there, give everybody the website where we can start organizing around a specific point that will deal not only with DACA, but the 14th Amendment, theft of our citizenship, everything that they want, sanctuary cities. This plan will work. Go to the chnc.us, thechnc.us, and you'll see the articles on DACA, but also read the information, because what we're talking about here is calling for a moratorium on all comprehensive immigration reform issues until a thorough, open, public, bipartisan investigation and report can be made on immigration reform's effect upon black peoples in this country, past, present, and future. And until we can figure what that is, we should do no more. If it helps us, yes. If it doesn't, we must stop it. So join this. It'll focus all of our ideas and concepts into like a laser, and we can smoke these guys out with this thing.
Yeah, we got to smoke them out. What's the website again? Give it again.
The website is the THECHNC.US. The CHNC.US. It stands for the Capitol Hill National Caucus. Has been in existence since July of 2013. There's a whole system set up where we can organize ourselves into chapters in every city, every state, and every county across the country, and we focus this message to the President and to Congress and to the Supreme Court. We demand that before you go any further with comprehensive immigration reform, it is only right and fair and just that we figure out what its effect will be upon the people upon whose back this nation of immigrants is built in the first place.
Beautiful,
Isn't
beautiful.
that fair?
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
We're inviting La Raza. We're inviting the Hispanic Latino Caucus, of course, the CBC. We're inviting everybody in this country, legal immigrants, illegal immigrants. Can we all pause for 1 minute and let's talk about how this is going to affect the people upon whose backs we immigrants stand? Isn't that morally correct, Kathleen?
That's morally correct. And you heard where, in fact, people should read Father Basio's book, The Immorality of Illegal Immigration. Are you ready for a phone call, or you want to say something else?
Yes, Miss Ma'am, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Hi, Bill from Los Angeles.
How are you?
Good.
I have not heard your program before, but I have met Mr. Hayes down at Barbara Cove CCIR.
Hey, how you doing, brother?
Hey, I'm doing fine. And
I got a picture of Barbara on my wall by my computer. Every day I see her and think about her. She's one of my heroes.
She's a smart lady, and I'm glad she got fired up.
Absolutely.
I worked for, I think, about the last 3.5 years of the Terry Anderson show, answering phones. So he was right on the money, and I just had a couple of other things, if I may say so. You know, our thinking is molded by the language that we are forced to use. But if you remember Article 1, Section 8, I think it's Clause 15, and Article 4, Section 4, if you came here illegally, you're not an immigrant, you're an invader. So I call them...
You got it, invader occupiers.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And I use that term all the time, and people say, well, no, they don't have guns. I said, don't worry about it. They'll get them. But anytime somebody comes into your country illegally, they're an invader.
With or without guns, it doesn't matter. With or without guns, they are invaders, especially on a massive level, as we have seen in the last 20 years or so.
Well, that's exactly right. And I've tried to call all these talk show hosts, and I can't get on. And I finally got through to Michael Medved, and I said, I just told him what I just told you about our thinking being molded by our vocabulary. And he said, oh, you're going to call the guy that's mowing your neighbor's lawn an invader? And then he hung up on me. And I didn't get a chance to tell him, yeah, the guy walked on my car, on my beautiful 63 Ford, to do the top of the hedge, and then he stole my aluminum I was saving. But, veterans served, we were told, to fight communism and to fight invasion. And if we can't do that, then all my brothers and sisters that died or wounded in Vietnam died for nothing.
And this is why you heard me say in the beginning of the broadcast, we could be upset with, and rightly so, with the invader occupiers all we want, but they're going to do what they got to do. Our job is to get the chief executive officer, the commander-in-chief of the U.S. military, and according to Section 4, 8, and 9 of the Civil Rights Act of 1866, the President of the United States is obliged, if necessary, to use the military to get people out of our land and to stop invasions.
I'm going to write that down. That's the Civil Rights Act of 1866?
Of 1866, which is the progenitor of the 14th Amendment that they're trying to steal as well. But you go to the Civil Rights Act of 1866, and you read those 10 sections that explains to this nation's leaders just how and what we are supposed to do to rectify the matter of chattel slavery and its devastating generations. The reason why we're in this trouble today is because the Republican Party abandoned their responsibility to fulfill its obligation of 1854, 1856 to free the slaves, ensure their citizenship, and empower them with the right to vote so that they can have experiential citizenship in this country as is enjoyed by white citizens. This is what the Constitution demands, folks. That's why those 740,000 innocent young white boys and men had to die in the Civil War over this matter. And it would be shameful for this generation to allow the destruction of the very people that those boys had to die over to be destroyed.
Right on.
Shameful to us.
You got it. You're so right. And I'm sorry we don't have CCIR anymore. We don't have Barbara Coe. Are they still going, CCIR?
I have no idea, but I talked to Evelyn, but I would encourage you to join the Capitol Hill National Caucus effort. Help us get this moratorium proposition. Get everybody focused on this. It will investigate the 14th Amendment theft. It will investigate the wall issue. It will investigate DACA, Papa, Hopper, whatever else they want to throw out there. It will investigate.
Okay, thank you, Bill. We got a lot of calls. Why don't we try to get as many as possible? What about Hi, Marilyn. Welcome to the Naked Truth Report.
Ted, this is Sue from Maryland.
That's Harriet Payne.
It's Sue Payne, Ted.
Oh, Sue Payne. This is Sue Payne from Maryland.
Yeah.
Hi, Sue Payne.
Ted, I love the show. Kathleen, I love the show. Kathleen, I'll be meeting you this month because I will be attending the social contract, and I understand you're going to be there.
Oh, wonderful. I look forward to it. I look forward to meeting you.
I've been working with Ted on this issue for many, many years. Ted, earlier when you said there's some new people coming, I'm not one of the new people. Been with you a long time on this issue. I want to make a couple of quick points. Number one, to use the word immigrant for people who have entered the country illegally is really a sin. No one is an immigrant in any country unless you have been given permission from that country to emigrate into the country. So when people say illegal immigrant or undocumented immigrant, it's really a slap in the face. You are either an illegal alien or you are a resident alien. A person with a green card is a resident alien, and an illegal alien, a dreamer, is an illegal alien. Now, talking about the dreamer, these two guys, these two clowns, Lindsey Graham and Dick Durbin, are introducing the new DREAM Act of 2017, which is going to give these people a CPR, which is a conditional permanent residency, and they'll be eligible for naturalization after 5 years and eligible for citizenship after 8 years. Now, to understand what is really going on with DACA, and I believe that DACA does not stand for deferred something for childhood arrivals. I believe that DACA stands for deliberate amnesty for criminals and aliens. And that is what I have been saying on the radio. And what these people have done is, it doesn't matter who brought you into the country. I don't care if you're 6 months old or 6 years old. Once you became 18, you then became an adult that was residing illegally within the country. It was on you at that point to go back to your home country, because these are not people without a home or without a country. They have a country. And if we allow them to get citizenship, they then have two countries to call home, unlike your kids and mine. And these people had a legal obligation, as soon as they turned 18, to go back to their home country, get in line, and get right with the law, and wait their turn to enter. No one is saying with this revisiting DACA, no one is saying, where's the accountability? When do we put the parents in jail for supposedly committing the act? How about the grandparents going into jail? When do we end birthright citizenship? Is that going to be a bargaining chip for this, to end the illegal interpretation of our Constitution to allow these people to drop anchor babies and give them full citizenship rights? And when do we look, like Ted's saying, the impact on the black community? Every one of those 800,000 DACA recipients that now has a, quote, better life and has a job and has a Social Security number, every single advance that they talk about, their education, that has come at the
cost.
At the price, at the expense of the black community.
Right.
And you're black. When someone says these illegal aliens are stealing things, they're not stealing it. You have people like Al Not So Sharpton who are giving it to them. You have people who are leading the Martin Luther King anniversary march from Selma to Montgomery and having it filled, the march filled with illegal aliens carrying signs, "I have a dream." The same illegal aliens who put on their census documents that they are white.
Exactly.
Who insist when they're arrested, the FBI categorize them as white.
Exactly.
Who stand at these day labor centers and refuse to do a job with an American black. And yet we have black leaders who are giving them everything that, like Ted said, not only the white kids who died in the Civil War, but your black ancestors who went through what they did. They're just giving it away and calling it. Today I heard a black congresswoman say that DACA was the civil rights issue of our generation.
I know. They're such sellouts. They're diabolical. They're evil. I cannot stand these people. They're twisting the truth.
And you're right, Kathleen. They are getting health insurance, and that was after Obamacare. You know, when Obama sold it, they weren't going to get any health insurance, and then he went back through executive order, and he gave them Obamacare, which you and I are paying for. The state of California has issued a bill and has been signed into law that even if DACA is rescinded, the taxpayers of California will continue to pay for the health care for these illegal aliens. They are illegal aliens, and if the Republicans allow this to go through, This is the end of the Republican Party. Absolutely the end of it.
Absolutely.
But it will also be the end of the Union Republic of the United States as well, especially the day that the illicit Hispanic Latino population outvotes the traditional American black U.S. citizen. But again, folks, this whole fight is with us. We have the technology now. We have communication skills. We can pull together, but we just need to rally around the banner a single point that could bring this to a head. And that's why I'm promoting to you the moratorium proposition at the Capitol Hill National Caucus, the CHNC.us. What it would do is we will get a congressperson. I've already worked with a guy named Danny Davis, who is a Democrat, and I worked with a guy named Stephen King, who was a Republican. Several years ago, in 2013, we had him very close to calling upon Congress to do this. And the day that one or two Congress people have a news conference just stating that they're going to submit to committee the idea of an investigative report of immigration impact on black people, the invasion has been effect upon black people, then what will happen is either La Raza and the Congressional Hispanic Caucus will come out and say, yes, we support that with the CBNC. We support this. Let's find out. Let's help our black brothers out. Or if they say, no, we're against it, then black people all over America and non-black people, including their own people, will ask the question, how could you not be for that?
Okay, let's take a call from James now. Thank you, Supan. Hi, James. Hi, James.
I got a question. I call it human trafficking. That's basically all those kids were humanly trafficked to here. And basically, we're paying for it. And if I did that to my child, the social service would take my child from me. I think what we should be doing is sending those kids back to their parents. And everybody keeps saying they don't know the country they come from. Their mom and dad go back to Mexico, El Salvador, every other holiday. So what are we talking about? It don't make sense.
You're right, James. Absolutely correct. The parents should be put in jail and prosecuted for child endangerment, and not only for bringing them here in dangerous situations, but now those children are going to have an emotional breakdown because they're going to have to leave this country. We're going to get the president to enforce the law.
Yeah, we got to make this happen.
It really is backdoor amnesty.
Exactly.
Yeah,
what it is.
exactly.
The front door, they're coming through the back door using this child thing, and really, remember that aiding and abetting, Ted, the federal law for aiding and abetting, that goes for everybody. And everybody really want to get all these legislators. Go look at the article, the federal law on immigration, aiding and abetting. That means the city,
Trump
state,
allows for DACA to stand.
That's right. Even Trump,
and he may as well
for Trump.
and give a general
Everybody's in
amnesty
violation of the Constitution. Everybody's in violation of the Constitution. That needs to be, even the Secretary, Attorney General, he can't read. There's a federal law that says aiding and abetting. That's it. They're gone.
And as long as
all police officers should have a felony right now, and they shouldn't even be able to carry a gun because it's a felony. It's a felony.
Okay, James, I appreciate it. We're going to try. We got a lot of calls, Ted. Why don't we get Andy now? Hi, Andy.
Hi, Kathy and Ted. First of all, Kathy, I think you are a very talented young lady and very direct, no nonsense, and you tell it like it is. I think you're going to go a long way. Stick to your guns, stick to your principles. Do not compromise with evil or sellouts or people who want to bring down this country and our wonderful Constitution. And, Ted, you're a true patriot as well, and I'm very proud of you and what you're doing. I just have a comment or two real quickly. I honestly believe, and I've been watching this at age 69, about to turn 70. I've been watching this for a long time, and I believe in one respect, we are our own worst enemy, and I've had some smart people tell me this from other countries. We're very naive people. We want to do the right thing. We want to try to be decent, humane. But if we allow this flood of illegal lawbreakers, call them whatever you want, but disadvantaged people, and we cannot even take care of our own poor, our own homeless, our own uneducated, something, we're going down. And we got call the enemy what they are. These are socialist, communist, Marxist enemies of the American people, the real true American citizens. And it's time for us to quit being nice guys. We have to take off the gloves, and we've got to take on the evil for what it is. The Marxist, communist, socialist enemies of the American people.
And
all of us. Black, white, yellow,
and let's
red,
present a plan. Aggressive, offensive plan to the president. Let's stop complaining now. Let's come together and present a plan.
That's right.
I agree with you.
Okay, thank you, Andy. Andy, we got your idea. Let's see if we can take 30 seconds. You think 30 seconds, Carolyn? Can you say something in 30 seconds?
I wanted to say these young adults are DACA, but what about the last few thousand that came in when Obama was still president? And they say 800,000, and in the end it'll probably be something like 2 to 3 million. Well, those young ones that came across the border when the last couple of years, they're not part of DACA, and they're flying under the radar. Nobody's talking about them. They're like ghost numbers.
Okay, thank you, Carolyn. Well, Ted, why don't you want to close us out?
Yes. Once again, Kathleen, thank you, and everybody else, thank you very much for lending me your ear to hear my viewpoints. And don't forget to join with us, the Capitol Hill National Caucus, the CHNC.us, the CHNC.us, and let's focus and get Mr. Trump to be the president he has told us he wants to be. Remember, black people, he said, black people, illegal immigration hurts you more than anybody else, and I want to help you. What the hell you got to lose?
Okay, thank you, Ted, for joining us on the Naked Truth Report. I'd like to end this show. Oh, don't forget to check out the Naked Truth Report Facebook page and also my website, thenakedtruthreport.com. And what else? I don't know. But listen, I like to end the show with people this is my love song. I give a love song for folks with deep roots in Los Angeles, deep roots in America, and deep roots in California. This is my love song to you, my favorite, Stevie Wonder.